Well, the Riverina area has been renowned over many, many decades for producing outstanding talent as trainers, drivers and, of course, brilliant horses. I caught up with one of these outstanding trainers from that particular area in David White. Dave, good to catch up with you. Our Rocky went around in the Waratah final, another second, now been placed 5 or 6 starts in a row, but celebrated his 50th start tonight with another gallant effort.
Yes, he did. He hasn't lost a point for, I think it's his last 13 starts. He hasn't lost a single point. He's been pretty consistent. He's been good this time in. 5
wins, 16 placings. A nice type of horse to have in the stable.
Yes, he is, mate. He just keeps bringing them dollars in every week and probably pays for the rest of them sometimes, but not always. But no, I'm just having a good run with him at the moment. He's feeling good and he's happy.
Dave, the heart started beating a little bit fast at the top of the straight?
Yes, it did. It's funny because there was a bloke just sitting there minding his own business watching the race beside me, and I've roared at the top of my voice, "Go Rock," and he lifted off his chair. But yeah, I thought I was home there for a little bit, but the other horse just out-toughed me.
One thing we find with the horses that are coming from all over the state, David, and compete in these Waratahs, some of them can be found out with that long run home.
Yeah, they certainly can, but I think it probably helps us a little bit because we're at Wagga, so we're seeing a 1,000-metre track. The 1,400 is bigger, of course, and the 400 metres up the straight, it is a long stretch and it is a bit daunting for him. That was that bloke's first look at it and he seemed to have handled it. Some do, some don't, especially their first couple of goes at it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the Wagga track. The Riverina area, as I mentioned in the introduction, David, for so many decades has been a wonderful producer of talent, and now with the Wagga track there, it just gives it that little bit of extra spice.
Yes, it certainly does. I've got my own track there at home and I'm more than happy to work on it, but at least once a week or once every 10 days I like to take them up there and give them a hit out on the track. You can just work your times you want to work more consistently, and they're finishing their work off differently, because you are on the better track. So, no, it's definitely a good track.
And you're stuck with the Riverina theme, in particular Wagga, with the driver you had, Cam Hart. Doesn't go too bad in the soggy, does he?
Yeah, he goes excellent, Cam. I choose Cam quite often. As long as he's happy to drive for me, I'm more than happy for him to be driving for me. So, no, if you can grab hold of Cam, you definitely do that every time.
White family have been involved in harness racing, David, now for many decades. In fact, you're a 4th generation.
Yes, my great-great-grandfather and uncles, they all had horses. Then it's gone down to my father and my Uncle Ray. And then I'm the last of them, actually. There's none of our kids are interested in it, so I'm it.
Yeah, we're going to have a chat about your Uncle Ray very shortly, but as far as your involvement, you started out as a nipper?
Yes, yeah. I can't remember a morning in my life growing up that I didn't get up and work the horses with the father before school. Like, it was always get up, he'd slide the door back, he'd bang the light on, and the next time he'd jump on top of you if you weren't up by 4:30. So, but we were working anywhere between sort of 6 and 10 before we'd go to school, between the three of us, my brother and myself and my father. So, yeah, it's just something we've always done.
Has it always been a hobby as far as the family is concerned, and plenty of hard work in between?
Yeah, definitely a hobby for me. Probably a hobby for everyone, except for Uncle Ray there in his earlier days. But no, definitely a hobby for me. Sometimes you'd scratch your head and you'd probably go broke training horses if you only did that, So no, it's definitely only a hobby, and it's a hobby I love. But I'm fortunate enough that I've got somebody that works for me, Andrew, that he helps me out in the morning so I can get away and get on the roofs nice and early. So,
yeah, we'll talk about your business, but when we say hobby, it is a full-time hobby, isn't it?
Oh, definitely a full-time hobby. Yeah, I can't help myself. I brought another one at the yearling sales, and I've got a 2-year-old coming through, and I've got 3 in work. So I do like to turn them over and just keep poking along with them and getting them to where they can get to and feeling the best they can when they get there.
The roofing business, you better give it a plug. It is very successful.
I don't know about giving it a plug, but yes, we've been going 20-odd years, me and my cousin. We kicked off from nothing, and we're flat stick all the time. Everybody, because we're local, and everybody seems to know us in the town, and that's who you get to do it. So we don't do much advertising. It's just come and do it for me, book me in. So yeah, it's good. It's good, but I'm getting older and I don't want to be up there all day either. So
You mentioned the track. You've got a wonderful setup now, and you've changed your course over the last 4 or 5 years as far as harness racing is concerned.
Yes, I have. As time's gone on, it's become a speed game, and I think growing up, it was sort of instilled was go out and work the horses hard and work them as far as you can, and now it's short and sharp. It's you work short and sharp, and they just seem to do better for it. Like we used to jog for 45 minutes as kids, where today I'm only jogging for 25 minutes, but a little bit quicker. So yeah, I've just gone along with the times, really.
You mentioned your Uncle Ray White, still driving at the age of 83.
Yeah, he sure is. He's a marvel, old Unc. He's still going around. He's punching them around still and trains his 4 or 5 and breaks in for a lot of people. There's still people calling on him to sort out horses with problems. Like he's 83 and people are ringing him up, can you sort this out for me? But if he didn't have the horses, he wouldn't have much. So he's more than happy to keep poking around. And, he was born on the back of the sulky, you reckon, so he may as well die on the back of one. So.
And your colours, the red with the white diamond dark blue sleeves, of course, are Ray's colours.
Yes, they are. I'm quite proud of my colours. They were actually in the Guinness Book of Records in 1976 for the fastest 2-year-old in Australia at the time, which was Vision Hanover, which Uncle Ray had. And I inherited those. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy to have them. They won't go anywhere else, so...
Well, we started talking about Ray earlier over in the stables. It reminded me, he used to have a wonderful association with Vic Frost.
Yes, he did. Him and Vic go back many years. They were very good friends, and Margaret. Very supportive of each other through all their different things that went on in their lives. They're probably not as close these days because he's a lot further away too, But yes, they were very, very good mates.
Apart from the family, Dave, any other influences as far as your career is concerned? Or going to the trots on a Friday night to see Uncle Ray in action? There must have been a lot of idols around.
Yeah, there was. Like you look back and I can remember coming home with my brother Graham and we'd sit up to all hours waiting for the replays to come on and your Uncle Ray's out there driving. We were only little kids and he's punching home winners, That was pretty exciting for a kid to, oh, geez, I wouldn't mind doing that, But it's not so much I've had idols, but I've got a lot of respect for some really good horsemen and some really good friends and people that I've met through the industry that have been really good to me. And the good people want to help you out and give you knowledge and help, and the good people are the ones that do know. So I'm very respectful of a lot of people in the industry, actually. I couldn't really name one person. But as I say, I've formed a lot of good friendships that have been friendships for 30 and 40 years through the harness, so it's been very good.
Two of those friendships have involved Brian Hancock and David Aiken.
Yes, Brian, we go back with Brian and Richard when we were kids. We used to race a horse back years ago called Bel Air Ben. And Brian and Richard took a real liking to Graham and I, and they spent a lot of time with us, and we spent a lot of time down there at Teeny Lodge as kids growing up. So, yeah, and when, Brian's driving your horses for you and all that sort of thing, yeah, and he's winning the Inter Dominions and, and mind you, if you couldn't get Brian on, you put Richard on, well, you're just getting as good as a driver, and the knowledge and like Richard's living down home now. He's moved down to Wagga, so we get to see him quite often now. And Akey, because I was living in Bankstown, when I was 18, so that's a few years ago now. Well, you form friendships, and those friendships last a lifetime when they're with good people. And Akey's done different things for me that's just a little bit out of the ordinary. You think, God, you're a good bloke, and so you respect things like that, and that just comes back to a bit of respect,
Dave, you're bringing back a lot of wonderful memories. You mentioned the replays on the ABC. They used to show the Daily Double live and the replays of all the other races with the late Andy Vincent. I still find this very hard to say because you're such a great mate, the late David Morrow. I can still remember, like yourself and like so many other people, in particular the country people, watching those races on the ABC.
Oh, there was nothing better. We'd come home from dinner, we'd go out for dinner on a Friday night like you did if you were lucky enough to go out, and you'd sit up and you'd have another couple of hours before the replays come on, because I think they were 12 o'clock at night by memory. And we were only little kids, and you'd sit up and watch them, and you'd be watching J.E. Binskin and, Kevin Newmans and, like the best in the game, and your Uncle Ray's driving against them in the races. So it makes it pretty exciting as a kid growing up.
It certainly was. Now, you mentioned the fact that you're in the roofing business and your children have decided to stay away from harness racing. You got the building game covered. You've got one son who's a plumber, another builder, another's an electrician, so you got things pretty well covered.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we're pretty lucky. They're all pretty good kids, so they've all fallen on their feet and got themselves good jobs. And the daughter, she's on our second grandchild, so we're pretty stoked about that. I've just actually named 2 horses after the 2 kids in a roundabout way. So, yeah, no, we're pretty proud of them all. They're achieving stuff and building their homes and getting somewhere in life, so it's good.
Your daughter may have the toughest job being a mum.
Oh, definitely, no doubt at all. So one's 2 and one's 12 months old, so yeah, she does some running.
Dave, it's been good to catch up, in particular do some reminiscing about the good old days of harness racing.
Yes, thanks very much. Thank you.